Every morning is an opportunity to connect with Jesus. Whether you're looking to get started or looking to grow more, DDPC is for you. Join us as we connect with Jesus together.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being part of Daily Devotions. Pastor Chris today. And it is an absolute joy to be with you this morning, this Tuesday morning, August 19th, if you can believe that. And here we are, episode number 1244. 1244. It is amazing to me that in 6 more episodes we'll be at 1,250. It's just absolutely astonishing. Yes, I'm wearing my specs today, just because. Yeah, I mean, I see that there's a glow or a reflection. Maybe that's a little better. I don't know. Maybe I can just take them off. It's just getting hard to read, guys. It really is. It's getting blurry. Yeah, because anyway, point is, good morning, and good to have you on with us. Episode 1244, August 19th, Tuesday. My joy to be with you today. So, we've been in the book of Acts. We are in the middle of Acts chapter 23, and I want to pick up at verse 6 today. So remember, Paul is being accused. Everybody wants to arrest him and throw him in prison. And some Romans stop the fight and they put him up on a pedestal. And now he's able to share. And so he's sharing these things and he's talking. There's 2 groups of people. There's the Pharisees and the Sadducees. This is the ruling class. Some are religious leaders. Others are more political leaders. But they both have religious and political pull. And so they are bound together. They have bonded together to in a concerted effort to take down Paul. So here's what it says. It says, then Paul, knowing that some of them were Sadducees and others Pharisees, called out in the Sanhedrin, my brothers, I am a Pharisee, descended from Pharisees. I stand on trial because of the hope of the resurrection of the dead. And so when he said this dispute broke out between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the assembly was divided. The Sadducees say that there is no resurrection and that there are neither angels nor spirits, but the Pharisees believe all these things. There was a great uproar, and some of the teachers of the law who were Pharisees stood up and argued vigorously. We find nothing wrong with this man. They said, what if a spirit or an angel had spoken to him? And the dispute became so violent that the commander was afraid Paul would be torn to pieces by them. So he ordered the troops go down and take him away from them by force and bring him to the barracks. So Paul is standing before this, what's called the Sanhedrin. All right, the Sanhedrin is made of 2 parties, Democrats and Republicans. I'm kidding. The Sanhedrin is made up of, it's a council that is made up of both Pharisees, the religious sect, and the Sadducees, which were like the moral, holders of law, right? And so these 2 groups held very significant theological differences. Pharisees believe in the resurrection of the dead. They believe in angels and they believe in spirits. The Sadducees reject all of those beliefs. That's why they are sad, you see. Get it? Sad, you see. Anyway, sorry, bad joke. But so Paul had been a Pharisee. He was a Pharisee of Pharisees. Remember when he was Saul and he was persecuting Christians, he was part of the Pharisaical rule. And he understood Jewish law, the Torah, the Mosaic law. He understood it very well. And he understood rhetoric. And so he sees an opportunity here. And so in verse 6, he says, my brothers, I'm a Pharisee, descended from Pharisees, and I stand on trial, and here's the clincher, because of the hope of the resurrection of the dead. So immediately, Pharisees are like, yes, there's resurrection from the dead. And the Sadducees are like, no, there's not resurrection from the dead. And they begin arguing. So Paul uses wisdom to expose the hypocrisy and the internal division amongst those that are accusing him. They're in other words, they're trying to present like they're all unified, but the truth was they hated each other based on theological differences, and it forces the council to confront its own contradictions. Imagine it like this: imagine a political committee, right, that claims to be unified in condemning a whistleblower. Right, we hear about these whistleblowers that do these big data leaks, and they leak information to news outlets or on the internet. And so let's pretend that there's this political committee that claims to be unified in condemning a substantial whistleblower, but that whistleblower, instead of defending himself directly, brings up a core constitutional principle that some of the members of that council strongly believe in and others don't believe in. Suddenly, that committee will turn on itself, not because the whistleblower was proven innocent, but because he's exposed inconsistency or fragility in their unity and the hypocrisy of their motives. Here's the lesson that we can learn from all this. When you speak to people about the Lord, speaking truth will not always bring peace. Sometimes it'll bring division. They say the truth will set you free, but sometimes the truth will make you mad. It just depends on what side of the truth you're on. And so people who are living in secrets, that are covering things up, that are hiding behind rhetoric, will become defensive and cantankerous and aggravated and agitated when the truth begins to get exposed. And so they will lash out. But when truth is spoken wisely, it exposes what people truly value. Think about what I just said. When truth is spoken wisely, it exposes what people truly value. So don't fear the tension. The tension will always come when there's opposing sides. God often uses that tension to reveal deeper spiritual realities. And truthfully, by Paul tossing this subject of the resurrection into the pool of the Sanhedrin, it caused them to turn on each other. And even though he was in the middle of it for a moment, the soldiers came and put him safely in their barracks. He was able to get safety because he spoke the truth. So yeah, I mean that's kind of deep. That was a little deeper maybe than we normally dive on a DDPC, but let that just kind of resonate in your thought life today. And as you're going throughout your day, man, sometimes you got to be, this is why the Bible says that we are wise as a serpent, but gentle as a dove. You've got to be smart. You can't just haphazardly say stuff. Why do you follow Jesus Christ? Well, because the Bible tells me so. Well, how do you know the Bible's real? Because it just is. Where did God come from? He just always has been. Like you need to have an answer for this, for those kinds of contentious moments. And so we be in prayer that God would give you the wisdom that he gave Paul in that kind of a situation. So I hope that that really blessed you and touched you, and that in some way it just sticks in your heart. And if you find yourself in conflict, that you're able to be wise in that situation. All right, guys, that's what I got for you this morning. This is a pre-record. I am so sorry I had to had a board meeting. I've got an early morning staff meeting because we had to move our staff meeting because of my early morning meeting on Monday. And so my week has just gotten a little bit crazy in the mornings. But I do want to keep DDPC going. So I don't have time for shout outs because I don't know who's watching. But man, talk to each other, bless each other, pray for each other, reach out to one another. I DM each other or instant message one another, and man, get on each other's prayer chains, hold each other accountable, lift each other up. Man, school's getting ready to start. If you've got kids, or you're an administrator or a teacher, or part of a school in any way, or know people, reach out to them, connect. Man, like let's just build that community. Continue to be a blessing everywhere you go. All right, guys, I got to run. I'll talk to you later. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye.